For many years, the American Legion has been fighting to protect veterans memorials, from secular and atheist organizations who attempt to dismantle any symbol that they deem to be religious on public property. This year, we prevailed in a historic Supreme Court case, the American Legion versus American Humanist Association. The decisive victory protected a World War I memorial which consisted of a large cross in Bladensburg, Maryland. These courtroom victories are only possible because of our representation by great legal minds. And that's what we have at First Liberty Institute. Presenting the Phillip Onderdonk Religious Liberty Award is one of those great legal minds, our friend, the President and CEO of First Liberty Institute, Kelly Shackelford.
Last year, I ended my talk with you talking about the Bladensburg Peace Cross and how we were going to go to the Supreme Court and do everything in our power to make sure that that cross was not going to be torn down. And I want to show you the video of how I ended my talk with you last year. So let's look at that. It's very short. That Bladensburg Veterans Memorial is not coming down. It is not coming down. It is not coming down. I bring you news from the Supreme Court. The Bladensburg Cross is not coming down. We won at the Supreme Court, and in case you have it, if you want to go as deep as you want looking into the opinion, the case, the briefs, any of it, you can always go to our website at firstliberty.org. You just spell out the words firstliberty.org. And in fact, you can see even new cases. We have a new, very important case, a POW MIA case that I think all of you would be interested in. Feel free to go there and call us if we can ever help you. But let me give you the report of what happened. I think most of you know the story of the Bladensburg Peace Cross. This was a memorial that was put up almost 100 years ago by the American Legion and by mothers who lost their sons in World War I. That was on American Legion property. But eventually, since this was right outside of Washington, D.C., this memorial was actually dedicated to the 49 men in Prince George's County, Maryland, who gave their lives in World War I. But eventually, roads were built around this, and so the government took over the property. Go years later than that, and the American Humanists came along and say, hey, there is a cross, and it's on government property. We can't allow that, and they filed a lawsuit. And of course, the Federal Court of Appeals, in their wisdom, determined that this was, after almost 100 years, all of a sudden now unconstitutional. One of three things could have happened as a result of this case. Number one, the Supreme Court could have said, yes, tear down this peace cross that's been up for almost 100 years. That would have not only been horrible for what that would have meant for that memorial and those families, but that would have set a precedent, a religious cleansing that would have occurred across our country. I mean, only 2 miles from there is Arlington National Cemetery. They would have had to go in and tear down the crosses in Arlington, the large freestanding crosses. That was option number one. Option number two is they could have said, we're going to protect this memorial, but they could have given us no help for future attacks, which we have been having to defend all over the country. Or number three, they could say, not only is this memorial okay, but we're going to really do something to help stop these attacks on our veterans memorials across the country with religious imagery. I'm here to report the great news that they did number three. They said this memorial is not going down, and these attacks need to stop. From now on, the Supreme Court has said every memorial and monument that is up, even if it has religious imagery, is presumptively constitutional, and you better come with a lot of evidence to say there's something wrong with one of our memorials or monuments in this country. That is a huge change of 50 years of hostile attacks we've been having to endure, and great news. So We'll get to that in the future. Let me say thank you. You put on the uniform and served this country, but what I love about the American Legion is even when you left the military, you didn't leave your fight for this country. And we stood together on the grounds of the United States for God and country, and we just won just a victory, we changed history. And you are a part of that, and that is one of the reasons why this group, the American Legion, is so special. You know, over the past years, we have now donated at First Liberty over $9 million of free legal time standing with the American Legion, battling for these different freedoms. For instance, when the Pledge of Allegiance was attacked, we stood with the American Legion in court, and we won and repelled that attack against the Pledge of Allegiance in our schools. When In God We Trust, our national motto, was attacked, we stood with the American Legion representing them in court saying, no, you're not going to change our national motto. And again, another victory in court, a decision defending and upholding In God We Trust as our national motto. And when Mount Soledad was attacked, when the Mojave Desert Veterans Memorial was attacked, the American Legion stood up and said no, and we did too, and those memorials still stand today. And of course now, we have a victory at the United States Supreme Court on behalf of the Bladensburg Peace Cross and really all memorials in the country. This is because the American Legion, even today, is not afraid to stand for our freedoms and fight. And so now we get to what we get to do every year, which is really, really a privilege. And that is give the Phillip B. Onderdonk Jr. Award to the person in this country who has really done the most for religious freedom in our country. Watch this quick video, and then I'm going to give and announce the award winner.
Since our nation's founding, America's veterans have built monuments and memorials to honor our service members. But today, there's a coordinated effort to tear these memorials down. Together, First Liberty Institute and the American Legion are leading the fight to keep them standing. For example, when the Mount Soledad Veterans Memorial came under fire, we were there to protect it. When the Mojave Desert Veterans Memorial was attacked, we were there to fight for it. When the Bladensburg Peace Cross was threatened, we were there and won a Supreme Court victory that changes how judges will regard similar cases in the future. When the national motto and the pledge were challenged over In God We Trust and Under God, we were there so our children and grandchildren would be able to continue these time-honored traditions. Freedom, especially religious freedom, has a great champion in the American Legion. So every year, First Liberty Institute honors a champion of freedom with the Phillip B. Onderdonk Jr. Religious Liberty Award. Some give trophies. First Liberty gives a rifle. Ever since the Civil War, veterans demonstrating the highest dedication to duty have been presented with an engraved Henry repeating rifle. This fully functional firearm is a special military tribute edition made with fine walnut with an adjustable sight and a 20-inch octagonal barrel. The highly polished receiver features a 24-karat gold bald eagle bearing a shield in recognition of service to our great country. The other side depicts the iconic Statue of Liberty and Liberty Bell, enduring reminders that America is a beacon of freedom for the world and for our citizens. On the forearm, a flowing banner and shield proudly salute our military heroes. The stock is laser etched with the Onderdonk Award emblem, uniquely commemorating a champion of our religious freedom. You know, there's nothing more American than a Henry repeating rifle. And there's no greater champion of religious freedom than this year's recipient of the Phillip B. Onderdonk Jr. Religious Liberty Award. First Liberty salutes your dedication to duty in the service of freedom.
We know that more battles are ahead, and we will be standing with the American Legion in these battles, and that's one of the reasons every year we're going to give this award, Phillip Onderdonk Jr. Award, named after this great American Legion member that we started the award in conjunction with. And so every year we're going to give, because of the graciousness of Henry, they donate this rifle every year in this award. This is a spectacular rifle. And so we just can't thank Henry Repeating Arms enough for what they do as well. This year's award winner was kind of obvious. One of the biggest cases in the history of the country, in fact, changing history, the case that will always be referred to, because this is the official name, the American Legion case. Who was the person who spent the most time, the most brilliance, the most gathering of the team? It was Chris DiPompeo. Chris DiPompeo works at the international law firm of Jones Day. He was the mastermind behind all of our work on this case and did an unbelievable job. And so I could not be more proud than to be able to give this year's Phillip B. Onderdonk Jr. Award, the Henry Rifle, to Chris DiPompeo.
Well, thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Roger, and First Liberty for this award. It's quite an honor. It's something I'll cherish for many years. I will say also, though, that the big honor of this case for me is the fact that I was able to represent the American Legion for so many years in such a great case with a great outcome. It was a long time coming. I mean, we've been representing the American Legion in this case for 5 years. The case just ended this past June. I'm so happy that it resulted in a win that's a historic win. It's going to be a landmark win. For years in our profession, people have referred to the Lemon case and the Lemon test as kind of the case that defined religious liberty in this country in really a negative way. And I'm so gratified to know that in the future, when people think about the Supreme Court decision that dictates what religious freedom means within this country, they're going to be referring to the American Legion decision that we were part of. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I've never been more proud to represent a client than I was for the American Legion, or to be involved in a case like this. So thank you so much for this and for the opportunity to serve you in this way.
I want to end with what we did last time about the Bladensburg Cross. It's not coming down. It's not coming down. It's not coming down.